What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Double D Show. I am your host, Double D, and today we are going to be talking about hair and wigs, and specifically what's going on with my hair that I have to wear wigs. So, let's get started. Growing up, I've always loved hair. Like, I thought hair was the coolest thing ever. I can remember being a little kid when I would go to Louisiana. My grandmother on my dad's side would just let me sit there and play with her hair, put her hair on rollers, comb it, whatever. So, I've always been obsessed with hair. Growing up, though, my parents didn't necessarily allow me to express my hair the way I wanted to. Pretty much growing up in a African American household, guys having long hair is not something that's usually supported, and if so, it's usually in cornrows or in an afro or something like that, which isn't necessarily what I wanted to do, but if that's what it was going to take for me to be able to grow my hair out, then that was what I was willing to do. So growing up, like from the ages, basically from up until the point I was 14, my parents would basically have me cut my hair, and it would be cut really. For those of you who have gone to the barbershop with your friends and family, this would be what is known as a shadow fade. That was their hairstyle that I rocked for like ever. And for me, I didn't really like it for a lot of reasons. A, I wanted my hair long, but B, I felt like it made me kind of blend in with everybody else. And I just wanted something to kind of like stand out. So around 14, I started, kind of experimenting with growing my hair out a little bit, trying to grow it into an afro. Grew it out for a little bit, like the summer prior to, I want to say, my 8th grade year. I didn't cut it at all, nothing whatsoever. And then we put a texturizer in it to kind of give me more of that jerry curl look. Because again, growing up in an African American household, you're not about to just have long, flowing, luscious locks if you're a guy. You're about to go do something with it. So, what I originally wanted to do was just I wanted to just grow my hair out, but my parents were like, you need to do something with it. So then I opted to kind of do, I think at the time the style was in where it was like you had an afro, but it looked kind of like a jerry curl, and it was like curly and such. So that's what we ended up doing, and I saw it, and I loved it. I loved it because I was like, this isn't what I'm looking for, but this will work for me. However, my mother did not like it, and so she was talking to my dad because she came into the bathroom too and was like, oh, Chuck, I don't really like the way that's done. Like, can't you just shape it up a little bit? And somehow shape it up a little bit meant give me a fucking flat top. So picture it for a moment. I had an afro. I would say it was maybe a good 2 inches off of my head, maybe an inch and a half. Somewhere between an inch and a half to 2 inches, right? Get that in like a curl texturizer. I'm thinking this is cool shit. And then we cut that into a box top. Just how ugly do you think that was? I looked in the mirror and my heart sank. I was pissed. I was like, what did you guys just do to me? Like, I just quietly just walked out of the room and just like went to my own room because I was just like, this is hideous. Like, that's one thing, we're going to talk about some of my experiences growing up and tie it back to psychology, because growing up the way that I did and knowing that there was something wrong with me and not getting help for it, I read a lot of psychology books in high school. And one of the videos I posted, I've said I have a higher than average IQ, so I've always read at a way more advanced level than what I should have. By the time I was in 5th grade, I was reading at an 8th grade level. 8th grade, I was reading at a college freshman level. High school, grown-ass man with a doctorate level. So I would read lots of psychology books. And one thing that that I've found is when you put your child into certain boxes and tell them that they can and cannot do stuff because boys and girls aren't supposed to do those things, or take away their creativity and expression of themselves, what that in turn does to your child is they grow up not feeling like they have their own identity. By doing that, they're not comfortable being who they truly are, and they have to suppress themselves because mom and dad says what I'm doing is bad and what is not okay. And then because of that, some people take that psychological trauma and deep-rootedly internalize it. And that's how you have kids who end up being gay and not wanting to tell their parents that they're gay because their parents have made comments about it, or people who want to do other things that are considered girly or may realize that they may be a girl in a boy's body but are afraid to tell their parents that because their parents want them to be a boy. Fuck what you want for your kids. Kids are people too. Kids have their own individualities, and it is unfair of you to try and push what you want onto your kids. Take yourself back to their shoes. Remember when your parents used to do that shit to you and how uncomfortable it felt and how angry you used to get? Why would you turn around and do that to your own kid? Just because your parents did it to you does not make it okay. Just because your parents did it to you does not make it okay. There are people whose parents would sit there and verbally abuse and scream at them. That doesn't mean that, they then go turn around and verbally abuse and scream at their kids. That does not make that okay. So, getting off my soapbox here, but let your children be them. Let your children be them. Regardless of if it fits to what you had the image of what your kids should be in your head, let your children be them. Children are people too, and every person has their own individuality. Off the soapbox. So, I did not like that hairstyle. I thought it was ugly. I thought it was disgusting. I felt dejected. I hated it. And I knew, having been bullied just about every single day for the past 2 years going to this middle school, which we will get into, I knew that the day I set foot in that school, I was gonna hear shit left and fucking right. And sure enough, I step into that school and I'm hearing shit left and fucking right. People are saying my hair looks disgusting. People are saying I'm ugly. Shit like that. So me already suffering with poor self-esteem, I'm super upset, trying not to break down and cry in front of all of these people. As soon as my parents get home, I locked myself in my room that day and just played video games. I was just like, I'm done with this. Another thing, we're going to get into a lot of psychological stuff, especially with bullying, because there are a lot of signs that parents don't notice that are telltale hints that their kids are being bullied. If you have a very intelligent child and your child has F's and D's in school, you need to look deeper into that and not punish them, but look and take an actual conversation of what's really going on here. Because it has actually been a proven statistic that kids who are smart, who stop doing homework drastically and their grades drop drastically, are actually being bullied at school, and psychologically the homework reminds them of school, so they just try to block everything out. So that's what I did. I blocked everything out from that day. I did not do any type of homework, none of that. I was just in my room playing Sims 2 all day, angry as hell, killing my Sims, making them live poor, terrible lives because I was upset with the life that I was living. And as soon as I heard my parents come home, I just walked down the stairs and I was like, you need to cut this off of my head now. I do not want this ever again. Please do not ever give me this hairstyle. And my parents and I had talked about me being bullied before, and I think me saying that to them just kind of you could see on my mom's face, she knew why I was saying cut it off. And I could tell, my mom doesn't have a very good memory like I do. Like I said, I have an eidetic memory, so I just talk about little bits and pieces of stuff, and it comes back like a full-on scenario, almost 100% accurate, like it did happen. She probably won't remember this, but I could see that sadness of, wow, I should have just let my kid keep his hair the way that he wanted to, because then he maybe he wouldn't have got made fun of. Again, You don't know what your kid's going through, so let them be them. So after that, I was just like, I'm not doing nothing with no hair for a while. You guys have humiliated me by trying to make me fit into what you think I should look like, and now I have no self-confidence whatsoever to try anything different. So for a while, I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to bend over backwards and still get my little haircuts, but I would space it out and not get haircuts when I was supposed to, because I was like, I'm still going to rebel against you because I don't want this. So I'm going to make sure my hair looks gross, nasty, and dry by the time I do get a haircut. Which, in hindsight, really worked against me, and it wasn't doing nothing to them, because I'm the one with the jacked up ass scalp now. But we gonna get there. So I think it was like maybe when I was like 16 or 17, after my parents had split up and divorced. Around that time, my mom, kind of recognizing that I was about to be an adult, started trying to give me that adult freedom and let me express myself the way that I wanted to. So we were, trying to experiment with hair dyes. We would do the dark and lovely hair dyes because, being a person of color, you can't necessarily use the Garnier or the L'Oreal or whatever because it's going to treat your hair differently than the dark and lovely. So we did the dark and lovely. Didn't come out the way I wanted it to, mainly because A, I didn't have enough hair. B, my hair is really dark, so I was just like, I'm frustrated, I'm upset. Again, I'm just going to give up on my hair dreams. And this is where the real problem happened, because rather than giving up on my hair dreams, I should have just kept talking to my mother to try and learn. But around this time, my mom wasn't as open-minded as she is now. So when I would try to talk to her about hair and stuff, she would be very judgmental and, well, why? Why do you want to do that? Why? Versus now, I talk to her about hair and stuff, and she's very informative. Well, maybe you got some really cheap hair. Maybe you should try this vendor or go over here to this store. Better yet, why don't you go to my hairdresser so you don't got to worry about none of that? That type of stuff. So, hey, Ma, love you. Around the time that I really started jacking shit up is when I went to college. So, my freshman year of college in Greeley, there were no black barbers nearby. I went in for a haircut once because we had an Aveda salon inside of our, I forget what they call the thing, but it's like the central building area where there's like a food court, university center. So we had an Aveda salon in our university center. And so I went in there and got a haircut, and there are some white people who can cut hair. Bless her soul, she was not one of them. She was not one of them. I said I wanted a shadow fade, and she cut my hair like I was a white dude. She wet my hair, was spritzing at it and then clipping at it. So when I'm done, there's tracks in my head. No. So after that experience, I was like, I don't feel like there's any black barbers around. I'm not going to ask because I don't have black friends like that. And the one black dude that I did know that lived in the same dorm as me, because at this point I was not a very outgoing person. I was severely shy. I would have terrible social anxiety, and I'd have to gas myself up to go talk to people, basically. But the only other person that I knew in my dorm who was black and 100% black and got haircuts the same way that I did, even he was having the same problem. So it was nobody knows where to go around here because we don't really know who to ask. So I took it upon myself to start cutting my own hair. Now the problem with that was, A, I didn't do what I did with learning how to make wigs and YouTube that shit first. I just was like, oh, I can cut my hair. And B, I didn't use actual hair clippers. I used a beard trimmer to cut my hair. So that naturally started causing my hair to thin out in the front, right in this area here. So I would do that, I did that for a while, for a good couple years actually. And then fast forward to my sophomore year of college. Again, I'm still trying to experiment with my hair and everything, trying to figure out what I want to do. And I'm like, you know what, let's go ahead and get that S-Pro texturizer I had when I was young again, and let's get that again. My hair's long enough, I haven't cut it in a while, we could do that. Problem with that is I asked one of my friends to help me, and my friend did not know what she was doing. We gonna give this person a name because she comes up in several story times in the college series, especially the ones pertaining to my sophomore year. We gonna call her Lily. I think that was my nickname for her. Yeah, we gonna call her Lily. Yeah, so Lily, bless her soul, she also did not know how to do black people hair because she was not black. Lily was white. So, as she's putting the relaxer, or not the relaxer, the S-curl activator in my hair, she's putting it in the wrong way. And as she's combing through it, I can feel clumps of my hair start coming out with it. And so I'm just like, what the hell? Again, we didn't really read the instructions and everything first. So, you know, being young and dumb, thinking we know what we're doing, we didn't. So I immediately go and wash this stuff out. So I have this half-ass curl on the sides of my hair, but up here, there's like this really thinning bald spot. So then I'm like, I can't have that. That's not cool. That's not kosher. We're not doing that. I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and shave my hair off altogether. So shortly after that, I let my hair grow out again. And this time, I started bleaching my hair. So I would get the splat kits from Walmart or Walgreens, wherever they were available, and I would go peroxide blonde or do something on top of it. So at first I think I did red hair because that was like the only thing that was acceptable for work or whatever. The second time I wanted to do that, I was actually a manager at that time, so my boss, as like you guys have heard from Simply Mac Story, Tim, the cool Tim, was like, nah man, that's not dress code, I'm not about to let you have red hair. You gotta have something that's natural. So I was like, okay, well I'm just gonna bleach my hair peroxide blonde. And he was like, well, it's natural looking. It's not natural looking on you, but it's natural, so I guess you've outsmarted the system. So that was my thing for a while. I was like, during the wintertime, I would bleach my hair blonde. Now, the problem with that is shortly after doing that, I went ahead and started letting my hair grow out again. And I dyed it again. I think I dyed it purple or whatever. And this was like after... Yeah, this was like about a good year after I started bleaching my hair. My roommate Jess and Dan and I were about to move to another house in Greeley before Dan moved off to Chicago. Since Jess and I wanted to be roommates, he was going to live with us for like the 2 months he still had to finish up his schooling for his teaching degree, since he was doing his student teaching in Greeley. And so we were at a party at Jess's boyfriend's house, and again, by this time my hair had been grown out, like I think it was like 2-3 inches, somewhere around there. And my dumb ass got the bright idea to go perm my hair, even though that it was color treated and you're not supposed to perm color treated hair. I was like, oh yeah, let's go do that. That's a good idea. Like, I want my hair to be long and flowing. So we went and permed my hair, and that shit looked awful. Thank God I don't have pictures of it because it was awful. It was bad, man. It was bad. Like, it was bad. My hair was really thin in spots. What I was trying to do was just like slick it back and have like that old black gangster dude type of hairstyle that they had in the 1940s, where it was like slicked back with the finger waves or whatever. That's what I was going for with my permed hair. But I didn't know that that wasn't going to happen, so I was just like, well, you know, we gonna rock this, except for the problem with rocking that is that the longer I rocked it, the more and more my hair started falling out. So I would be washing my hair in the shower, and I would just get clumps of my hair coming out. And it got to the point that I had a big-ass bald spot in the back right-hand corner of my head. And so Dan would just roast me savagely non-stop about the bald spot. Jess would just be like, D, give it up, bro. Like, you need to cut your hair off. I went and visited my mom. My mom saw my hair and was like, baby, you ain't supposed to perm color treated hair. Like, didn't anybody ever tell you that? And I'm like, no, mama, who would have told me that? That's a lesson I should have learned from you, but you wasn't trying to teach me that because you wasn't letting me grow my hair long. So at that point, I was just like, you know what, we need to let it go. Let's just shave it off. So again, I shaved my hair off, and for a while, I'm still doing that. I'd still bleach it every winter time. Keep it low though, because by this point, my hair is really damaged. It does not grow very much. Like I think at right up here, the maximum amount it'll grow is 1 inch, but like on the sides, I can get it to go 2 to 3 inches. And so I didn't really realize that until I started wrestling and trying to grow my hair out, because at that point I decided that for wrestling, you know, trying to live that truth as Denise and get to that point, I wanted to have long, luxurious, luscious hair, and I was gonna do that. And my way of saying that I was gonna do that was by growing my hair out, so that way I could get weaves and extensions that way. The problem with that was, like I said, my hair does not grow past a certain point. The top of my head only grows to about 1 inch, and then the sides of my head grows to 2 to 3 inches. So it looks like I have a saucer on top of my head. I got that old man going bottle type of hair, and that ain't cute either. So one day, I'm just sitting there cutting my hair. I was mad at my boyfriend. This was like when we first started dating, and I went too far in with the clippers. And by this point, I like actually upgraded the clippers because I was like, if I'm gonna be cutting my own hair, I'm gonna be trying to do it like a professional. And started watching YouTube tutorials and everything. So I went too far in with the clippers because I was mad, and then I was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm cutting all my hair off. Cut all my hair off, and I was like, this is a sleek look. This is a sleek look. So for me, since my hair doesn't grow very long, being bald was a better option of hair maintenance. I didn't have to worry about shampooing, conditioning, my hair getting dry, trying to figure out what to do with it when it gets to that ugly in-between phase, having to cut it every so often, or having that envy of just wishing that I could have long hair and not being able to. So during that time frame, my sister also started dabbling with wigs or whatever, and you know, she and I would talk, and I'd be like, is there a way that I can like create hair or whatever that can't be like yanked off? And she'd be like, not that I know of, like I don't know what you're talking about or whatever. So for a while I got really discouraged and was thinking like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to have that long, beautiful, sexy, gorgeous hair, so that way I can be Denise, because if I'm going to try and get hair transplants, A, that costs a hell of a lot of money, B, they may not even work and look great. So earlier this year when I started working at Office Depot, I met an incredible person. I love her to death. She is funny, she is zany, she is sassy, she is literally like she's like the female me, like the biologically female version of me. That's her. We're gonna call her AJ. That's her nickname. You guys might actually meet her on the show one day to help with like makeup or wig stuff, because her makeup and her wigs are always on point. She looks flawless at whatever she does. So hopefully you guys will actually get to meet her sometime on the channel, for like a week or for like a makeup video or whatever. But AJ and I would talk about wigs because she was always wearing wigs, and she like gave me a lot of information about the different styles of wigs that I'm passing on to you guys, like closures, lace fronts, 360 lace fronts, all of that jazz. So after she like kind of explained that to me, I started watching more YouTube videos, and that's when I came across Sky Santana and her YouTube video where she was making a lace front. Now, as you guys are going to see upcoming in this Monday's video of my journey to becoming a YouTuber, or why I became a YouTuber, I don't know what I'm going to title it yet. Sky Santana was a huge influence in that, because I had never seen anyone else like myself on YouTube before her. Now, you know, you had your Trey Melvins and your Kingsleys or whatever, guys who would dress up as girls but wouldn't really be claiming that they're girls. But then you get Sky Santana, who's openly saying, I am gender fluid, I am a man and a woman, although now she is fully realized she is a trans woman, so we gonna respect her pronouns, because I fuck with her, I download her music. I haven't been on social media like that, but now that I'm building a present, you know, I'm gonna be sharing her stuff. So who knows, Sky, if you ever see this one day, your bitch might want to collab with you, because you know, you my inspiration. You like the Lil Kim to my Nicki, except for I ain't trying to fight with you like that. So yeah, I saw Sky Santana's video on how to make a lace front, and I was like, oh, that's really simple. So at that point, that was when I was like, okay, I can do wigs, and I can make this work for me. So that's when AJ was kind enough to give me an old wig that she was no longer using, and that's how I started my wig journey. I started wearing that wig. I'm not even sure if it was real or synthetic or whatever. I ended up doing a wig restoral on that kind of way I restore my bundles, because it was a little bit older and dry. I may show that on another wig at another time or something. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's the story of why I have to wear wigs, because growing up I damaged my hair too much chemically by not using the right chemicals for A, people of color, but B, not using the right chemicals for my individual hair texture, because I was being rebellious against my parents for, confining me to having this type of hair, rather than seeking out their advice on how to get my hair to be the way I want it to be now, like I do. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Just a quick little fun Fancy Friday episode where we talk about hair, makeup, tell a little bit of a story time or two. We may even do some get readies up here in the upcoming days or whatever. But yeah, this was basically just, like I said, to let you know why I have to wear wigs, and why this wig journey is what it is. So like I said, stay tuned. We're going to be doing lots of wig reviews. Every time you guys will see me do a wig review, right before this video dropped, I did a wig review for best lace wigs. I will always do a follow-up video, because the way you feel about a wig on day 1 may not be the way that you feel about that wig on day 42. So I want to be able to give you guys, hey, this is how I felt about it when I first opened it, and this is how I feel about it now. I want to give that type of vibe. So those are the types of things you guys can expect from me on Fancy Fridays. So you guys got 3 episodes that you can watch and rewatch. But again, baby, like my shit, share my shit, please, please, please. If you were watching this, thumbs it up if you like it. If you know people, like, you know what? Everyone knows people. Share my shit regardless, guys. I am trying to build a brand. Like, I know you guys don't really understand what I'm saying with this yet, but when this upcoming Monday, you are going to understand why I came to YouTube to use this as this platform for this project that I have going on, because I am trying to build myself up in a way where I can show big companies I can build a following with or without you. So you might want to jump on this bandwagon and take advantage of all this free publicity, because again, I give back to those who give back to me, and I'm trying to go somewhere in my life now that it didn't started over. I'm your host, Double D, and that is it for today. Double D out.